What's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966. 66!
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's get to it. What you're all here for. Today's guest, we got LNP on the podcast.
Laurent-Nicolas Paquin.
Siri had to help me out with that one because I knew I was going to butcher it. We got Laurent on the show. Growing up in Quebec, surrounded by some of snowboarding's best. Alex Canton, Will Levine, LeWiff, Ben Baluck, Nick Solvay. Truly, his best friends and the guys that he grew up riding with were some, and still are, some of the best snowboarders and some of the most innovative and progressive, and dudes that were just getting pissed off that shit just wasn't looking legit. These guys were unhappy with the quality of snowboarding on rails at the time, so they came out with this movie, a legendary movie at that, Bandwagon, blowing everybody's minds at the time. It's still crazy. That shit's still legit. Sugar Shack Films, you probably know him more from Deja Vu, Videograss, and some of the Rome movies, standing out in each part, not simply because he was dressed up like a hippie or wearing rocker shit and doing whatever the hell he wanted because this guy was a true original. He was just insanely stylish, talented, and just hit the right spots. The backlip pop-out that he filmed in VG, still one of my favorite rail clips. Where's he been? What has he been up to? This show is a tell-all episode from one of snowboarding's greats. I was really happy to catch up with this homie. It's been a minute. Enjoy the show, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. It's worth the listen. I know this one's long, but it just gets better. All right. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got LNP on the podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
All right, give me a rundown. How do you say your whole name? Because I know I'm gonna butcher it.
Well, do you want to say you want me to say it with like in English or in French? Like you want me to speak French and say it in French, or you want me to say it whenever I have to say it to like English people with like the English accent?
You know what? Do both. Let's get a little let's get a little French and a little English on here. Give it to me.
I wouldn't say real, but like my name is Laurent-Nicolas Paquin. But whenever I say it to people in English, I'd say like Laurent-Nicolas Paquin.
How many languages can you speak? 2?
Yeah, 2.
See, I got 1. English. It's brutal. And I'm not even that good at English. It's like super embarrassing. You go to Europe and everyone can speak like 3 or 4 languages there. You're pulling your weight. You got 2, French and English.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you probably got pressured into learning English when you were on a bunch of snowboard trips.
Well, that came fast. You gotta. I remember people having like maybe laugh a little bit about like how I speak the language at first, but everyone was pretty cool about it because everyone knows that it's pretty hard. But we learn English in school, like, and I learned it pretty fast, like watching snowboard movies and also like skate magazines and kind of reading it and stuff. And I was not like super good, but I was pretty ahead of my league, I guess. And then one day I thought I was going to be like, one thing I wanted to do, which kind of like is still to this day kind of like sometimes I'll like mumble stuff, is like I want to speak as fast as French as English. I want to speak as fast, like, you know what I mean? Like I want to say words as fast as I like the same, like same.
You want them to be on par. You're trying to like get them equal. Well, I mean, you're pretty good.
Yeah. The way I speak in French, like the fastest I speak in French, I want to have the same speed in English. I just go through, I'll talk with you, and then I'll mumble on something, because I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
So you're trying to increase your speed on the English language.
Not increase. I want to have the same. Which is sometimes if you talk to someone and you hear them speak French, you'd see that they speak French faster and they'll slow down in English, because you kind of have to like have your brain like figure out what words is what words, but that's what it is. It's your brain has to like, do you want to say dog? You have to like thinking in French first and then
translate it. There's a lot of studies that have been done that using another language activates a different part of your brain. And if you don't ever use that part of your brain, you know, someone like me who never uses it, it's so hard to learn another language. But once you get the ball rolling, apparently it's so easy, because Kareem, he can speak, I think, 6 or 7 languages, and he said that like learning the first 2 or 3 was so hard, but now he's just like, they're all slightly connected in a different way. So now he can just kind of pick up another language super easily, where I struggle to the max. I was in a French class. Like, we had French an hour a day pretty much my entire life until grade 8 or 9. And I think I came out of it with like bonbon. I know what candy is, because like, that's it. And like
the thing is, I think like English and French are so like far apart, but there's like a ton of like, you know, like Kareem could have told you that like French is really close to like, I don't know what language it was, but like there's some languages so like you're like, oh man, dude, like it sounds like what we're talking about.
Exactly.
They say like this, and I'm like, oh shit, it sounds French.
Somebody's listening right now, and they're like, oh, if you can speak like German, you could probably pick up Portuguese really easy, or whatever. I don't think that's a good example, and someone's like, no, that's not it at all. But there's definitely some that are super close together, like French and English, you know what I mean? There are some similarities, you know what I mean? You guys put little accents on top of your E's and stuff. There's no similarities. I can't understand it.
It's just like sound. It's crazy.
It's pretty though.
This one thing is, that was my trick, is like, whenever I go on a trip, and this is crazy, because I guess it's me like switching my brain or something, but whenever I was on a trip with English people, or like in the US or whatever, with like a crew with people that speak English, I would dream in English and I would think in English. I would think in English, like 24/7. Think in my head, speak to myself in English.
Whoa. I've never thought about that before.
If I get, and it's kind of weird, but it's whatever. Like if I drink a few beers and I like wander around the house or whatever, and like I was watering the plants and I had a few beers, I speak in myself. I speak in my head in English. I don't know why I do that. And it keeps me, it keeps my English good, I think. Because I speak to myself in English. Once in a while, and I watch movies in English, and I read in English, and a lot of things, but I would just speak to myself. Like a little voice in my head is speaking English to me. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, dude, that's cool, blah, 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 blah.
No way. Do you think it's from the, like, growing up, did you go to the movie theaters and watch movies in English? Or did you watch French movies?
I think I watch all French movies. Like I watched Ghostbuster in French, like Ninja Turtle in French.
No way.
Yeah, for me, if I watch it in English, it's not as good as like watching it in French. Like shitty, like really not as good as, you know, like I'll watch a movie today, like a movie just got out, I'll watch it in English because I know it's better. But the movie from my childhood, I need to watch it in French with like the shitty, like fucking French they put on. It's not even Quebec French. It's like French from France.
From France.
It's just like, it's how I watch it, and it's like way better.
Have you gone to like a place like France, and when you're there, use, you know, the Quebec French that you have learned? And do you feel like there is a lot of differences, or are they really similar?
Well, when I was 6 years old, I spent my dad got his job moved to France.
To France.
We were supposed to spend like a year, and we spent like 8 months. We spent 8 months there, and I remember I did my first grade, I guess, there. And I was talking to kids. They wouldn't understand what I was saying. I was speaking Quebec, and they couldn't understand it.
Our teacher, when we were learning French, a lot of the time, they would just bring a TV into the classroom, and the TV, they would put a VHS in, and a pineapple would teach us kids how to speak French. It would like be a dancing French pineapple, and it would like teach us how to...
Mine was like, when we would learn English, it's called Radio 321. It's like a blonde guy. He had a dog, and then he had a radio, and you'd like, and I don't know if he would like speak French. I think he might have speak French, and then he was like, we're going to learn a number. 1. That was it.
See, we had the dancing pineapple. I forget what it was, but it was so sick. I wish I could find the video. It'd be fire.
How... It's like pineapple is like the least French fruit ever.
Yeah, they could have picked like maple syrup or something like that, you know what I mean? Or like a dancing poutine.
Well, I don't know, like a maple leaf or a croissant or something.
Oh, wow, yes, the croissant. So what have you been up to right now? How have you been staying busy? You've been working hard right now. COVID's kind of like, slowing down a bit. Are you back to work?
Yeah, I'm back to work. I was off for I was off for a minute. I basically took all my vacation, stayed home, kind of kept the family safe, I guess. And yeah, I'm back to work. I work now.
What do you do? What do you do for work? I think I have a general idea. You work with big machinery. I'm imagining you with big wrenches and like, tightening big lug nuts and stuff like that.
I'm what you call like a heavy machinery mechanic.
So you don't work on the light stuff. If something light comes in, you're like, that's not for us, dude. Can't do that one.
I ain't doing like Honda Civics or anything like that.
Like, are you doing like big like caterpillars, like cats and stuff like that, like bulldozers and stuff?
I work at the Caterpillar dealership in Quebec. So I do like excavators, loaders, whatever like big ass thing that works in like, with construction. We do minings too. Like we have like huge fucking. So I drive them, test them, repair them, wash them, all that. Sick.
I got a question for you. So on my truck right now, on the lighter end, everything's wrong with it. My truck's worth probably $5,000. I got about $5,000 in repairs. Do I dump it and buy a new truck, or do I just sell it for parts, get $1,000 and buy an old truck? Like, what truck do I buy? Help me out, man. What are you driving these days?
Dude, I drive a fucking Ford Explorer, and it's not like I want to drive that. I wish I could drive a truck.
Is it fuel efficient? Does it get you from A to B? Because I'm thinking about buying like a Toyota Corolla, just being super chill. Or I'm thinking about like, getting a Toyota truck because they last forever. They hold their value a little bit better. I don't know what to do these days.
I don't know. You need a truck for your snowmobile, right?
Well, I was thinking about being new school and getting like a trailer like Crispin Cannon and towing it and doing the trailer. It's a nightmare, but...
You should get like do you have like no friends that can do like a little bit of mechanic?
Well, my friends are useless, dude. Nobody has any garage space here because we live in Whistler and it's so expensive. But now that the economy is totally tanking, I think that we're going to have some... I'm hoping that we get some friends buying up some pieces of real estate that have a garage, because none of my homies have a garage. You go back to Winnipeg, everybody's got a garage.
Louis? Oh, yeah, Louis has a garage.
Oh, I'd do anything to have a garage. Oh!
Me and my girlfriend are looking to buy like it's a future plan. I wouldn't say it's now. It's in a few years, because I have a duplex in Quebec, so it means like I'm staying downstairs, someone's staying upstairs, so I have like kind of someone that's paying everything. So whenever I leave, I can rent the whole thing for like 2 person.
That's genius. House hacking.
Yeah. So we're thinking about buying like, I want to buy like a house really far from everyone, And we kind of have, we want to have like a little farm in there, you know, like maybe like a horse or.
I had a horse growing up, dude.
Dude, I would be hyped.
They're sick, dude. I grew up on a farm, like not where we had cows and milked them.
Like a little one, like not a big one, like a little bit of everything, you know, like I don't know.
I like it, dude.
And I want a garage so I can like do stuff and repair shit. And then I'll buy a pickup truck, like a shitty old pickup truck. And I'll fucking start working on it. I'll be like, oh man, I'm missing parts. Then I'll buy another pickup truck for parts. Dude, you drive in front of the guy's like, Jesus, how many cars does he have? He has so many cars because he has like this one car that's like, he's trying to fix it. And then he bought one because he needs the starter. But why would he take the starter off? Because the guy is going to fucking bring it to the yard, you know?
I've never thought about that. My whole life I've been driving by these houses on the side of the highway and wondering, why do you need 14 cars that all don't work? But now I get it. They needed all 14 of those cars to get the one to work. Oh man, I can't wait to come to your place. You gonna build a mini ramp?
Dude, I don't know. I haven't been skating that much. I mean, I had like this little skate shop. And for whoever listens to this that has a skate shop probably knows how hard this shit is. And it kind of, I don't know, it broke my heart, man. We fucking did it all. We did the 100 miles, man. And it closed. And then when it closed, I was just like, shit. And that's when I went to school for being a mechanic. Because I was like, I got to do something, man. No more snowboarding. No more shop. And then like the skate shop was in between like, Rome was kind of just slowing down and kind of like telling me that they're probably going to replace me or they're cool. They're trying to like hook me up with some stuff. And I was like, man, I in my head, I was like kind of done. And then I was like, I'll do the skate shop. And then the skate shop got like, it was cool the first year. And then we had like a winter and the winter was rough. And the next winter we're like, oh, we'll buy snowboards and we'll sell snowboards. We almost went down, like, fucking snowboards are so expensive these days. It was the worst thing we could do. And then the third winter, we opened a skate park, and it just went right down the drain, kind of. My buddy Steph, who I had the shop with, and we were talking about it, like, right now, we were like, shit. Like, how? You'd put like a sanitary little bottle and people comes in and buy. It's just like so hard. And then like we tried the internet thing, but then we had to have someone go in the shop and say, okay, we'd make package. We'd take a deck and we'd send it to the kid. And then we wouldn't take it off from the website. And then some other kid would buy the deck. We'd be like, oh, damn it, dude. We'd have to email the kid, hey man, the deck's not there anymore. It's like, well, do you have anything like that? I'm like, well, no, blah, blah, blah.
And it gets really, I never realized how cutthroat it gets because certain shops obviously have more buying power and they're like, well, we're exclusive to these brands. And then the brands are like, well, we still want to sell to these core skate shops like yourself and other people. And it just becomes this huge war in the community of a bunch of people who are trying to sell skateboards to kids.
Yeah. It's called business.
Fucked up.
It's called business, man. I'm not going to say any names, but whoever listens to this podcast is from Quebec, completely knows what shop in Quebec is doing this shit, and he's not a skate shop. He sells like band t-shirt. He has like fucking Nirvana fucking t-shirts in his fucking shop. And he was the one who giving us fucking nightmares, and you tell brands or whatever to like not sell us or whatever, you know. It was just a nightmare. And I kind of learned in this situation, in this whole thing, and I was like, it made me stronger for something and made me weaker for some other thing. And I was like, fuck, like right now I don't want to be the boss, you know. I want someone else to be the boss. I want to work, I want to get paid, and I want to go home to my family and feed them and love them, and that's it. I don't want to be the guy to be called at 11 o'clock, like 11 in the morning, because the fucking shop got fucking... Someone smashed the window and got in there to take 2 fucking creature cap and 1 fucking deck, and, you know, for a fucking $800, like a $800 window.
I know, and then you have to go to the insurance company, and they're always a pain in the ass, and it's like never easy, and you're like, oh my god, for $800 I have to do all this work.
3 times we got fucking broken in a skate shop. Like, who broke in a skate shop? There's not even $100 in the fucking, like, dude.
That's crazy you brought that up too, because do you remember Kevin Griffin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Griff. So Griff opened a skate shop where we're from, and he had like a team, and me and Jake and everybody rode for it. It was called Props, and they were trying to keep it afloat, and they had 2 skate shops in like a smaller town, and there was such a big beef between the 2 and a few of the outside shops, and like, you know, windows got broken up, people were getting beat up over the shop, and it was just so sad. And I mean, at the time, I thought that's how it was. I thought it was like a war between these shops. Now, looking back, I'm like, this is the most insane thing ever.
That's what it was. We were skating at the skate park, and there was like 2 crews. There was that shop crew and the other shop crew. And you were like, what the fuck, man? It's skateboarding. Everyone should be like... But I feel like in everything, that's how it is. Even in snowboarding. I remember in snowboarding, watching like comments of me. I was hanging with Jan and Max when they were on Rome. They were like the biggest fucking Tech 9 dudes with fat pants. They were from Montreal. Montreal and Quebec always been like that. Like, it's not like that anymore, but back in the days, like Montreal they were all like gangster dudes, and we were all like, I don't know, not gangster or whatever. But I remember when I was like first year Rome, like any means, comments are being like, LNP is not hanging out with these guys. Like, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. And those guys were like the coolest dudes. Like, there's like a big thing in crews, and it's like a sport where everyone should be hanging out with each other. And I feel like we are kind of, but there's always like this thing. You know what I mean? Like this weird beef.
Yeah, I know. And it's still, you know, if you're a contest rider, you kind of have your crew and you ride with Red Bull people and you do switch tail slide 450 stale fishes out. And then there's all the people that I really liked and grew up watching, filming video parts and stuff. And there's always seemed like there's been like some tension between the two. It's all just people sliding around on a slippery snowboard. Since the earliest days of skateboarding and snowboarding, we all know that there's been beef between just people. It's just fucking crazy.
These 2 you're talking about, though, I was big into like separating them. I was a big voice about that, and I've shouted that voice my entire career, because I just think this sport is such a sport to get out of everything else that we call sport. And I feel like calling it sport's not even a sport, but for me, when I was young, I totally understand you right now. I'm older. I understand these guys have to do whatever they have to feed their family or whatever, blah, blah. But when I was young, for me to have someone coach them how to snowboard, to win contests, to win money, was a disgrace. I thought these guys were kooks. I thought these guys did not love the sport, and they'd wear fucking like, they were there for money, man. They were there for fucking gold and fucking silver and gold and gold. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
I despised it.
It's so easy to categorize the whole contest scene, and then like, you know, especially people who've been coached and stuff like that, and people like you and myself, we grew up just passionate. We just fell in love with snowboarding at a young age and doing it for no other reason, just because it was something to do, and never really had these aspirations of being the next, you know, Wayne Gretzky of snowboarding. You know, it was just like something fun to do with your homies and a way to just get out of the house and express yourself from the shit that's pissing you off.
Exactly.
You could just go to the hill and snowboard, and it's like nothing else in your life mattered. But then there's people that are like so devoted to being the best at it, and it's like that's their reasoning behind snowboarding, is to like win it. But there's whack people in both of them.
But then I just didn't like the contest scene because I just didn't like contests, you know, like. And in my sport, in snowboarding, which I loved and embraced in my punk rock or hippie or whatever face I was, I did not like the fact that some people would take advantage of that sport just to like make money and I thought I felt like it was something that was attacking me because I was like in somewhere where I was like, there's no coach, there's no one is saying like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Even if I was one of the guy who would say like a front board's in between the binding or whatever, blah, blah. Anyway, man, like Deadlong did like fucking whatever he wanted and it was amazing. And I saw the podcast you did and whatever he said, where it's like, if you do it with style and do it like you mean it and it's going to look good. And he was right. But at that time, when I was young, it would attack me that people would take advantage of my sport and bring it to have like medals and money and sponsorship and have other dude tell them how to do tricks. And if you watch contests, they're not doing tricks like good. They're just trying to perform. And it kind of like freaked me out when I was young.
I agree. I mean, it's definitely, I'm trying to voice my opinion that like I'm being less judgmental than I was when I was a kid. But then there's so many people in the contest scene when you go to like the US Open and you go to X Games, and I've been to both of them, and you're sitting at the bottom, you see what it attracts, and it's everything. Whenever I've gone there, I've always been like, I'm so happy my direction in snowboarding wasn't this. Because this is what I like least about snowboarding, is being at the bottom of an X Games half pipe. Like I couldn't imagine that being what snowboarding is.
Like the part where I was the most upset is when they started doing like the slope styles and the guys were doing like shitty ass fucking rail tricks. When I was in the street and we were in the street spending 4 hours trying to do a fucking backflip on a down rail to its perfection. And this guy fucking does like 3 runs and can't even do a fucking backflip. And then he does like a fucking 1080s and another 1080s and some shit and he wins. Like, I was like, what the fuck, dude? They can't even fucking go some down bars, man. Like little baby down bars. They're doing like 270s all fucking shitty on their bindings, all crooked, and they win. I was like, dude, I'm spending fucking like 5 hours sweating my fucking ass off to get my tricks ready. Get my tricks sick so my part looks sick. Like how? He's got a fucking guy training him. He can't do a fucking 270? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I can understand, like, okay, it's a contest, you gotta go fast, blah, 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 blah. But you've been training, man. You've been training at the Red Bull fucking thing with your fucking coach. You can't do a fucking cab 270? I've seen Louis done cab 270 30 times in a row, completely perfect, man. He has these on fucking lock. Have you seen Louis do a backflip these days? Right in the fucking bindings, every time, all the time, everywhere. Like, I thought he was just like, I was like, who the fuck are those guys? Winning medals, winning 10,000 grands on fucking behalf of snowboarding? Fuck you, man, with your fucking 1080s. I guess jump guys would be like, oh, this is sick. This is some sick jump guys. But I think they just fucking laughed at us on these fucking down bars. Fucking flat down, fucking switch board slide the front board to fucking crappy fucking tricks. I hated that. I was like, what the fuck is this?
But we also, our phase was like some of the worst contest era because it was just got so hucky.
I'm also not saying that to everyone. Like, I've seen like very like amazing, and I'm like, this, you talk to anyone, like, I'm a big guy. I'm big about talking out my ass. I do that all the time, and someone would be like, "No, Ben's really good at this. Ben will fucking watch. He's gonna listen to this, and he's gonna call me and be like, "Hey man, you're not right. This is not like this is you can't say that. Blah blah." But I don't want to like categorize or like put everyone in a basket, but when I was young and when I was snowboarding, that's how I felt. And I feel like when it was like these years, that's kind of how it was. Like it's kind of how like people would ride contests. But right now, I don't know. I can't say because I haven't watched any like contests lately. And maybe they're better. Maybe people, I've like heard like a lot of kids on Rome now, they do contests are really good. And I haven't seen any of that, but...
Yeah, like Rene and Stale, both of them are super good.
But then if you go back, you can see fucking Danny Cass at the U.S. Open, and that was like...
Flavor. And style and flavor that you could... But then, not to like call somebody out, but like Anti-Audi and Ross Powers is there, and it's like, ugh.
But that was snowboarding. Remember when people were like having like grenade fucking like signs... That was snowboarding. I was like, oh my god, that was like a revolution, man. People had like signs saying Grenade. You know, Grenade was like the best fucking brand of all time. Like literally, like I love Rome to my core, but Grenade brought it to like a fucking next level. Remember people had like signs? I remember I was like, I want it. I want it. I want to be on Grenade. I want Grenade gloves. Like, I'll buy it. Like, if someone's selling on the street, I'll buy some. I'll buy your old Grenade gloves, man. It was insane. That was, like, the best brand ever.
It was the best brand ever. Just so people don't think that, like, I have a huge amount of respect for all of the contest riders who do it tastefully. Do your thing. Who am I to say what you should and shouldn't do? Make your money, do whatever. I decided to go in a different path, but... Like you said there, I think you nailed it there by saying you haven't been watching as much. And there's a pretty big group of the best dudes that are like doing really hard rail tricks now. And they are done, I would say, fairly properly. Like, you know, and if someone's doing like one of the first people I think that was starting to implement a crazy run was Mikkel Bang. He would start his runs off at the top with a switchback lip to switch. And everybody else at that point was doing like the 2-7 taps, like Sean White and stuff like that. And, you know, the best dudes. It wasn't real. There was no emphasis on that rail skills mattered at all. So now it's equal. So if your rail tricks aren't like dialed in perfectly, then you're fucked because it doesn't matter what you do on the jumps because the little down bar now is worth just as much as the big money booter at the bottom. But yeah, Grenade was the best shit in the entire planet.
We're jumping from one thing to another. Like, I love Todd Richards, but he's there judging. Like, does he really know that a switch backflip to switch is like an insane trick compared to like a fucking 270? Like, do you know that like if I was like Deep brought like judge for like rails or you know what I mean? Like you have like 5 guys sitting there. And they decide what's fucking hard or what's not hard or not. A perfectly done front blunt to reg. And some dude would do like a 270. I'd be like, that front blunt to reg was way harder. In a contest situation with stress. Like this guy fucking did it. Like if someone would do like a back 180. And then just slip it perfectly. And this other dude would do like a back 180 and all fucking sketchy starts like spinning cab 3 out. I'll be like, fuck it, I'll give it to the back 180 guy.
Well, I love that you said that because I had Mark McMorris and Stale on the podcast. And I guess what a lot of the contest dudes are trying to say is that there is a huge amount of judges that are dated and don't know what's up in the rail scene. And so the dudes like Mark and Stale and everybody that are doing well in these contests, they know that a switch front nose press, half cab or switch back one out or whatever like that is so much harder than the cab 270, but it's still getting judged the same. But like, dude, this data, dude, we got to flush out the contest judges and you and me need to go and judge it and it would be a whole new event.
People will go crazy. This kid would do like a back 2-step to fake you, be like, oh my god. Back 3 kid, be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, back 350.
Back 3'd on it. Yeah, but this other kid back 2-7 and completely broke his back to commit to coming back to the other side.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people doing the back 270 to switch and the pretzels, and they're doing them perfectly. But Jeeves put this really good one time. I posted a few people doing pretzels, and he said, when did the pretzel become sacrifice all of your style to get the pretzel around? Like, nowadays, there's so many kids that can do it, but they look wild.
No, dude, I've seen that. It's so easy. You just have to focus. You just put it on the binding. You focus on the binding. And it just goes around safely. I've seen kid kind of like hop it. They hop it. They kind of bring their fucking... Did they hop with their thing? It's so crazy.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing like a judo kick or something. Honestly, the contest scene is just not the energy that I want to be around. Especially the older I get, the more time I just appreciate having a few beers and shoveling a street spot with your homies is like the best thing ever. Going into the backcountry, snowmobiling up a beautiful mountain, freshly laced with a bunch of powder, and going up there and building a big backcountry jump. Your favorite thing in the entire world. Hitting a big old backcountry jump.
What are you talking about? You talking my thing? You should ask Jesse Fox about that.
No, okay, so you said that grenade was your favorite thing. You actually got on grenade That's like one of the best things that you can achieve in snowboarding.
Yeah, well, I got on grenade by Bernie, because I was on 32 for a minute, and I had those sweet ass, you know, they made like the Timberland boots, but like a snowboard boots. Remember those? I had the purple one, so I want to say a big thanks to Bernie for the purple Timberland boots. And he was like, no, man, this is sick. It's your style. It's going to fit with your style. And I was wearing jeans, and I was like, okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Whole thing was purple.
And when was this? When you were filming for like what, Any Means?
Ah, shit. No, I think it was before that.
Oh, like Bandwagon World.
Oh yeah, I think it was Bandwagon World. I might have had the purple Tims.
Everybody was wondering when Bandwagon came out and you watched the finished movie with all the people, you know, you had your premiere probably in Quebec. Did you guys for a split second, did it ever cross your mind that you guys were like the best out at the time? Or you guys were like, fuck, we're the best chippers in the world? Did you feel underrated and under like privileged, like, or like, what's the word there? Underrated and underprivileged?
Underprivileged, yeah. But we were underprivileged before. So we were like, all right, we'll make a fucking movie and we'll do it everything perfect. Because I remember watching movies and we were like, what the fuck, man? What kind of fucking front board is this? And like, we were like, man, we're like way better than this shit. So we were like, we sat down, I guess. We were like, we're going to fucking make the best fucking rail movie ever. And we watched everyone's footage and everyone was sitting in a room and everyone could have said or could say, no, I don't want, I think this trick is not that good. So we watched everyone's footage and everyone was voting on every trick.
Were there some people that were more sensitive than others being like, oh, come on, I worked really hard for that clip? You're like, don't care.
Dude, I probably had tricks. Ben probably had tricks. But like, you spent like 4 hours trying to tricks and you know that the last one you got is kind of fuck, you know, like it's a back clip, but then it goes to the binding a little bit. But then at that time, when it was snowing, when everyone was there and it was hugging you and it was like, yeah, you're sweating. You're like, fuck yeah, I got it in the can. But when everyone's sitting on the fucking couch, they're like, well, I went to the binding. It's not that good. And it just, poop, it disappears, man. That 4 hours of your life disappears. That's how it was.
That's the best thing ever. I've never been in that situation before, but I think that's the best way to go through footage. But I love how you said after the 4-hour battles or 8-hour battles or whatever, and you finish and you're covered in sweat and the homies are all hugging you and stuff, and they're like, you got it. And then you watch it at the end of the year. You know when you're like driving home from that session if it was weird. You keep asking everybody, like, was it weird? Was it sick? Like, the next morning you're at breakfast and you're like, well, what do you guys think it was sick though, right? It was sick. I didn't tap, right? And everyone's like, no, it's sick, dude. And then you watch it and you're like, that shit was so lame.
Yeah. If you keep asking, you know, it's just like something's weird. I've had trips with people, like, I'll land something and they'll be like, yeah! And I was like, what the fuck, dude? I was trying it. I'm like, we're here for like 4 to 5 hours, my man. I've watched stuff like, this is so crazy. If you want to, like, I've talked to people about this, but if you want to explain to someone and they're like, oh, really? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, we would watch it in slow-mo. He's like, what do you mean? And I was trying it, and then I'd watch it in slow-mo. And then I watch every little fucking second, and I'd be like, nah, I'll do it again. Or anyone around you would be like, I don't know, man, you should probably do it again. And then, you know when you don't want to do it again, and someone's like, you should probably do it again, and then you do it, and then you do it better? There's that feeling where, like, fuck.
You're so happy that they told you to do it again, but there's nothing worse when you do it again and get hurt or you don't get it and you're like almost jaded at them. You're like, that first one was good enough, but they're like, you could have done it better.
Yeah, but then I've been that dude who'd be like, oh man, you should have done it better. And then the person get like, they get hurt, but not that bad, but they get hurt, they bail, and you're like, fuck, oh, you feel so bad. And you're like, that clip was cool though. That clip was sick.
Yeah, dude. No, the first time when I told you to redo it, it's still usable. For sure. Because they're injured in the snow, icing their leg, and you're like, ugh, fuck.
I wish. See, we talked about that. I was trying to go French speed, and I fucked it up. I wish we could have made like a B shot from bandwagon, like a real B shot, and show everyone what was a B shot at that time. And I swear to God, people would be like, "Holy, what the fuck? Why did they put that in the movie?" Dude, we probably had we were snowboarding non-stop all the time, trying tricks, and we tried every trick as perfect as we could. And I'm not kidding.
Who was the pickiest? Who was like the pickiest out of the bunch? That was like, it needs to be held to like this standard.
Louis. Sometimes he does thing, and it's already perfect, and he does it again, and it's even more perfect. So you just like, what the?
See, I'm the guy who does the trick once, and when I get it, it's like the one. And it's not going to happen again. But people like Lewif and Jake from my upbringing, he would do the trick like so many times. And then he would pick from 5 of them.
Yep.
And I would just have the one. It'd be like, oh, and we're coming up on it. It's right after this. And this is when Jody lands it. And then, do you like it? Because that's the only one you have.
I'm like you. I go, and one time I kind of lock in good, and I'm like, this 5-0's going through that king, pa-pow, and we're down. It's all, he's like, oh, and I've done that, like, hey, try to do it better, and I'm like, well, ping, 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 everything's fucking tapping everywhere, and I'm like, dude, I'm done, this dropping ramp sucks, and snow's getting melty, I don't know.
And Lewif is just like later that night going through the 6 clips that he did, and they're all the same. And you're like, which one are you going to pick? They're all perfect.
Jake's the same. I went with Jake in Japan, and he was like, he'd do stuff over and over. It's like he's not fucking scared. Like he's back flipping this king. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, terrorized. I would be fucking so scared. He's like, no, it's cool, man. It's like, I don't remember. I felt like this kid did not have any, or he's really confident. I think they're both really confident athletes. I've seen Louis, and I've seen Louis, you know what? I've seen Louis eat shit because he commits. And I've rarely ate shit because I don't commit. I'll slide, I'll slide it on my foot, and I'm like, oh, I'll feel a little bit, and I'm like, whew, I almost fell. Whew. Louis goes in, he goes like, bam, bam, and then shit happens for sure.
In Blender, that last little Adidas project, he does like a cab over 270 onto like a kink and stuff like that. And it's like, when he goes for it, I bet you he doesn't even do the like half cab 50-50 a few times. He's just like, and cab over 270 straight into the kink, and Hayden's just so hyped.
I've seen it in my eyes. It's like I'll do like I'll go down the stairs. I'll firecracker the stairs. You know what I mean? Like I'll go from like baby steps. He drops in. He goes back lip. Whenever kinks, or you'll like drop switch and go cab 270. I remember like we had like session where we'd do that and be like, oh shit, and you'd almost get it, and then like you'll fall, but like that back 270 to fakie. You think he back won it before? Fuck no, man. You think he back 271, and then the next one was too fakey, and dude, he's just like, it's just his head, man. He's just ready to war, I think. I'm like a baby step guy.
I'm a baby step guy. I'm like back 5-0, then back 5-0, 180, and then I'll call it. And then, or it's like, yeah, it's all, yeah, sorry. Back 50-50, back 50-50, front 180. And then I think for an hour about what trick I'm going to try.
Yep.
And then everyone's like, it's probably going to involve some sort of lip slide maneuver. Who took the slams? Who was the slam guy on your crew?
Yeah, I think Louis had some really good one because he commits to everything. Will was like a bad luck guy. I feel like Will Levine had like some shitty ones. I think everyone kind of ate shit.
Oh, that one Alex Canten when he was filming for VG and broke his arm on that fence. Oh,
I hate watching that one. I hate watching those. We had a whole one. I think no one saw it. It was like in the Sugar Shack days. And Nick Sauvé, I think, yeah, it was his arm, but it pierced the skin, so it was like an open wound, arm broken shit. And it was like classic bring your snow to the summer down rail with like the fucking craziest stairs. I think those stairs were made like the old one I made with cement and like rocks in it.
Oh, dude, yeah, like cobblestone.
Yep, and then you just it tried to. I don't know. I might be really wrong here, and I'm not gonna say a trick because someone's like, "No, that's not what he's trying." He's trying a trick, and he went down the stairs and he flipped and he broke his arm, but his arm like the bones stuck out.
Dude, those cobblestone stairs, there's a staircase in Vancouver and it snowed this winter and my homie Tommy tried to do a lip slide on this super big kink and came out early and it just grabbed his base and it just threw him into the ground. He cut his ear open, face, stitches. It was just like so gnarly. Cobblestone stairs, dude, you don't want to hit it unless you can get the snow over the cobblestone and you can like ice it the night before. Or like somehow so everything's overhanging so you can ride down it, or you just want to find stuff with wood stairs, or preferably no stairs at all. With just a nice hill with a bunch of POW and you're in Whistler in the backcountry.
Jeez. But that thing I was saying with Nick is like they put that clip in the end of the video, I think. And it was like a amateur like fucking little dude like we had a premiere at the bar in Quebec and blah blah, and it went silent because you can hear like Nick like scream, like it was bad. So that VG one is not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. I'm not down with that.
Yeah, I like bails that are like a good like rowdy bail when someone's like fuck and they get up and then they do it, but like the ones where someone actually gets like broke off, I don't want to see it.
I'd rather have a bail section with music than that one bail that's like too intense and the guy kind of got hurt.
Late 90s, early 2000 bail sections, the best.
Happy hour, man.
Oh, dude, After Hours, such a good movie.
I didn't watch After Hours. There's too much puking in it.
Oh, I was down. I love any videos back in the day that you could get like the behind the scenes stuff, because you never get to see back then. One thing that's cool is that back then growing up, you never got to see backgrounds or like Instagrams or Facebooks or any videos or extra content about your favorite dudes, like ever. So if you could see like a photo of them like in their street clothes or hanging out, or like in a Trans World magazine, you're scrolling through and you see that everyone's at the riders pole and you see how everyone dresses and stuff, you're like, whoa, you get like a glimpse into their life. Now kids get like a full on like glimpse into every single one of their pros like life. Like, what do they eat? Who's their girlfriend and stuff like that. Like, that shit didn't exist back then.
Yeah, it's a sad world, man. Kids should buy like a fucking... You go on eBay and buy like the whiskey fucking 4 VHS fucking like thing. I think Ben got me into like whiskey. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Jeeves got me into whiskey. But,
remember that fucking clown? He like backflips off a fucking it's like a theater thing, broke both his ankle. He's like in a wheelchair, completely drunk. And then there's also, what's his name? He had like fucking he had blonde hair. He's got blonde shaved hair. Jimmy Allopuff fighting a dude in like a backyard party. And he's like punching him, and it's like Rocky's theme song. And then boom, snowboarding, and he's doing all these tricks, and I was like, oh my god, this is sick. Pit bulls like barking everywhere. This is so sick. You've never seen it? I think Whiskey 3 maybe. I don't know. He's fighting that dude in like this really like just in this backyard with like pit bulls, and everyone's just like shirtless, and he's just like whamming on this dude, and it just says Jimmy Allopuff, and his part starts. We are way far from like fucking the forum movies and technical difficulties. Hard as fuck.
I know. I listened to the Sean Kearns podcast on the effing rad one, and the Sean Kearns one's crazy. It just sounds like it just got so out of control. Like, by the third movie, they didn't even want to be doing it anymore. It almost felt like they were obligated to be stunt people, and they needed to keep up with the first and second one, but they didn't want to do it anymore. And I was like, damn, dude, this sounds like... It started off awesome, but he was like, by the end, it was like the fucking biggest weight on his shoulders, just a load of bullshit that they weren't into anymore.
There was not much snowboarding. I think they probably fucking like they were like the Jackass Godfather kind of.
Yeah, it was like before CKY and shit.
Yeah, oh yeah, CKY was way back after that.
CKY was like 2004, 2002. And Whiskey would have been like late 90s or mid 90s.
Yeah.
95. Definitely before my time, though. I was just hyped on it because when I got to Whistler, it was like everybody was like, oh, have you seen like the Wildcats movies and everything? And I'm like, duh. But everyone's like, have you seen the Whiskey movies? And I was like, no. And they're like, dude, you gotta watch. And then it was just like, you know, playing in the background as we pre-partied to go to Garf's and stuff like that.
I got to Whistler the first time.
Yeah, with Lou driving on a bus, listening to his podcast with his iPod.
It's like 5. I think it's 5 days, or it's 5 or 3. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's like long, man. You sleep in the bus. You start from Montreal and you go all the way to Whistler. And you'd stop sometimes, and we stop at Millennium. We had our decks. We were all fucking hyped, and the bus driver was like, "You can't have skateboards here." And we're like, "What the?" He's like, "No, you got to put it under the bus." We're like, "Dude, there's a skate park here." We'd like each have like an ear, and he would put like, it would start high. He'd put like AC/DC, Ozzy Osbourne, and then he'd go slow to like the Doors, and then he'd like just get me to sleep. And he told me, it's like, yeah, I get you to sleep. Postal service.
Oh yeah, big time.
Big time postal service. I remember like the first time I got a whistle. First night. Everyone's fucking partying. We're at Garf and blah blah blah. And then I can't see. I'm super drunk. And then we went to 7-Eleven, and then we get at a 7, and then we get in, and everyone's like, grab what you want. And I'm like, what the fuck you mean? He's like, grab what you want, man. Just grab what you want. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no one cares. And then everyone's putting shit in their pockets and everything.
Wait. The employee of 7-Eleven said, who cares?
Everyone was stealing at 7-Eleven. Everyone. And you know that.
Oh, man. I stole one time from 7-Eleven when I was like 15 years old and I got caught. And it was the most embarrassing. I was like, and then I had to see the guy every day after that. And I was like, I am never stealing anything ever again. Like,
dude, I stole like a caramel. And I was like stressed out and everything. And then someone's got out with like a bucket of ice cream and everything. It was like after the bar closed and everything. It was crazy.
Straight to the ice cream. See, that's the last thing I would go for. I'd be hitting up the Toquitos with the free cheese.
And then after that, one of our friend work at Subway. Now remember, he was like, okay, at like it closes at 9. Be there at like 9:15. We stop at 9:15 with Ben's truck, and we loaded the fucking. It was not even a truck. It was just like he had a Chevy wagon or whatever, like this old car. I don't know. He would have said like the model, everything. I don't remember that. We loaded with like trash bag of Subway stuff. We had cookies. We had chicken. We had everything. You know, like when they rip, you're like, oh, I'll take just like the, like the pastrami and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like, we had everything, man.
Everybody had the homie who worked at Subway that would just absolutely pillage that place. Like, we had Subway stamps growing up, and you would get like these cards, and our friend worked at Subway and just give us all the stamps, and we would just load up on the stamps, and then we would go in the next day when a different person was working, and they'd just give us free subs, and we did that for like 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how Subway stays in business. You know, everybody who's working there is hooking up the homies.
Jeez, I don't know if they fucking. It was like trash bags of stuff.
Trash bag size? Dude, okay, I've never been hooked up with Subway that much, and I like their cookies enough that if I was getting a trash bag, cookie bag size, that'd be crazy.
No, I think he was laid off. It was Jay Dubois.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think he was laid off or something like that. And one night we just stopped and we fucking got all that and we bailed. We had like cookies. I remember doing cookies in this little like, we had this little oven, like a little oven thing. And like not the big one, the little one, you could put toast in it or whatever. We'd make cookies and it just tastes exactly like Subway cookies.
Subway cookies. When they first came on the scene, everybody was like, thank you, Subway. These are incredible. Because there had never really been a cookie that had retained that much moisture.
Yep.
They're so fucking perfect. But I think that what they perfected is that people were like, yo, give me some of their cookies. They're like, they're not done yet. And they're like, I don't care. Give me the cookie. And when they had them, they were like, they're perfect.
They're basically just like cookie dough.
That's just basically cookie dough.
They're not cooked.
Okay, so we were talking about whiskey there, roughly around the same time, actually a little bit after. The first Nixon Jib Fest started, and you had told me before we started recording this that you watched something on the Jib Fest, and that got me thinking. You went to the Jib Fest.
Last night, I watched, I was browsing YouTube on the TV, and I kind of fell onto like, remember this thing was like Powder and Rail?
Oh, dude, those are so sick. Yeah.
And then I saw it and I was like, oh shit. And that's how I texted you, and we should probably talk about this. And I got invited to the I guess this is like, I said this, I think they say number 8. I don't know, I don't remember. But I got this letter. So I'm like, I got this email, and it was like, inviting you to the Jib Fest. And I was like, what the fuck? This thing, which was not a contest, it's a contest, but it's not a contest, was the most amazing thing I've done in my entire life. It was so sick. The setup was sick. The crew was sick. Eamon was there. Louis, fucking everyone, like
everybody, at that time, it was the best. They selected the best of the best. It was the sickest crew. Somehow they always get the intel because they always seem to invite the right people year after year. And yeah, there was a huge gap between when it stopped until when you got invited. But like, they nailed it again. Because the original crew going like JP and Brian Thien and Dave Downing and JP and Bozung and Bjorn and Duffy and Simone. And then they put like a space. They probably stopped for what, 4, 5, 6, 7 years? I don't fucking remember. But like when they came back on the scene, they nailed the invite list. I remember seeing all you guys going there and I was like, holy shit, that's going to be the best time ever.
It was so sick.
Why was it sick? Like, so you flew in.
The lodging was insane. We were like in, dude, like this big ass fucking hotel, beers all the time, and then it was just like a fun fucking place, and everyone was fucking cool, and it was like the most. And I want to say, if they listen to this, like Jeremy and JP and anyone that was part of the Nixon Jib Fest, thank you so much, man. That was like, it's like scarred in my brain. It was like the best time in my life. And I watched it like last night and I was like, man, that was so fun. It was like all my friends were there because it was like all the young kids. It was like everyone was there. It was so sick.
Yeah, the roster was wild, dude. I feel like Chris Grenier was there, Zach Hale was there, Simone Chamberlain was there, Louis was there, you were there, E-Man was there, Sexton was there, Grenier was there, JP, Jeremy, and it goes on. There's probably like 5 or 6 other guys that I'm forgetting, which I'm sorry, but like, yeah, it was a wild lineup. Was it actually fun though? Like, was it more fun to drink and hang out with everybody, or was the actual setup good?
The setup was good. There was that really like steep down bar I liked because you could kind of like 5-0 it really easy. And like the 2 sevs were really fun too. And there was other thing, you know, like there's like a really long flat bar. They had a session on it. It was kind of sticky, so I didn't touch it, but they did their trick.
I was going to say, they had the circle rail there, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you board slide it?
Yeah, I almost did it. I did the furthest. For sure.
Yes.
I'm the fucking O-ring guy.
My man.
I would commit. You watch it. And I was watching it and I was like, fucking hell. They're talking about it like Brian Teeney's like, oh yeah, and then you have to commit. He doesn't commit. No one's committing. They're all pussies. They're just doing like no slide and coming up. I was diving. You gotta dive. Your nose, I almost have to like touch the fucking snow. You dive into it. They're like, zoop, zoop. And Joe's like, zoop, and zoop. You gotta dive into it. I was going fucking fast and dive into it. You'll die. Your nose, it's like, it's science. You know? It's like an O-ring.
You know, those guys were never that good at science. You know, Sexton's not really the O-ring guy. He's more of the giant down bar guy. You know, you're the O-ring master. Sexton, the longest rail on the planet. Did you see that 50-50 he did this year?
That's crazy. That's how Joe is, though. He's like, he's going to commit to it. He flew out there a few times.
Joe is the battle master. I've heard that through the grapevine over the years. I've heard that Joe does not give up on a fight. You can't win a fight with Sexton. He just goes back or stays there all night until he gets it.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing that Simone and somebody else was with them. I think it was when they were filming for People Cheers, and he was doing this half cab 5-0, and he was there till like 6 in the morning or something crazy. He just like would not stop. But sick clip.
I think there's a trick or two that is surrounding kind of cheered way too early because they wanted to go to bed, and that kind of like it kind of got Joe a few tricks that weren't that good, and that sucks. You know what I mean? Like he did a few tricks. I remember he did like this backflip where like at the end he backflipped that it's like a triple kink.
Yeah.
And at the end he kind of just touched it down, and everyone kind of cheers and everyone just want to go to bed. That's when you know you're surrounded with a shitty crew.
Oh, so you think that's not a make?
No, that's not a make. And I think he could have, I'd like, give him 3 tries. He could have done it like way better. It's just kind of a, it's not like, yeah, you're going to get it. It's just more like, we're cold, let's go home, you know?
It's almost like there's nothing worse than committing to something and leaving with it like 60 or 70% done. Because everybody knows when you're backlipping or like lip sliding or whatever, like a triple or like a long big bar, and everyone's like watching the clip, you lock on and everyone's like, oh, this is the best clip ever, it's right in the middle, it's perfect. And then everyone's about to cheer at the premiere, and then they're like, oh fuck, what happened at the end there?
Like how many times, like they put it in the movie, but how many times did he watch that last part and had him in the air just touch the downrail and be like, is that good? Is that good? He had to convince himself that that was good. I've done that with many tricks. And then you're like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. I like it, but you hate it. In the most bottom of your heart, you're like, this sucks so much. Someone's going to say, this sucks. You know what I mean.
When you convince yourself that it's a sick clip, it's not a sick clip. Same with the backcountry. It's like you do a big back 7, but then you kind of butt check or something like that, or you wheelie out for too long and you keep asking the crew, is it wrong? Did I drift too much? Did I not? You're like, you already know the answer, bro. It wasn't good.
Exactly.
If you've seen the clip and you have to ask, that shit ain't good. I mean, in a given year, I would say that I would normally film 4 clips that I really like, and the other 10 to 20 are just like, I'm like, whatever. But those clips that you really like, that you do perfectly, you like your kit, you like the spot, you like how you did the trick, whew, if you can get those 3 together, that's a good day.
Those are hard. Like, that's what we did in Bandwagon. You had to be, like, everyone had to be completely 100% stoked on your trick. That means it was perfect. Because we wanted to be like, we wanted to bring this fucking thing to the world and being like, you guys are from the US and you're getting paid and you're like sponsored to do some shit trick and shit backlip and shit presses and shit front boards. Well, here comes the news, buzz. We're doing it better. We're not paid, and we're wondering why the fuck are we not paid? Here you go, in your face. So it's gonna be like, oh, with your big movies, this little fucking movie is way better. Those guys are writing way better than these fucking guys that are sponsored by Forum and all that shit. That was her message. Here you go, a bunch of fucking assholes. Here you go.
I love it, dude.
How they're sponsored, man. We're better than them. We're fucking better than them. I can do that shit. I can do that backflip way better. And we watched, and it was like this year when everything kind of got sloppy because people would get, like, the US were getting fat. They would sponsor. They would slow down. I would do the same. If you give me a sponsorship with fucking a travel budget, everything that I want, snowboards and bindings, and there's no one around to tell me what I can do, I'll slide my backlick on my fucking front binding 45 degrees all the way down, and people will get cheer. Cheer to me, for sure, man. East, it probably took us like 3 times. Did that backflip, and it was okay. And everyone's like cheering, yeah, photo, cover, whatever, blah, blah. And these guys down fucking in Canada, they get that movie out and it just like makes everything look stupid. We spend hours, man, doing everything perfect to tell everyone that this is not a thing anyone can do. You cannot have a sponsor and getting paid to do this fucking thing without having to work for it. You can't just sit on it. You can't just fucking go down, slide down the bar, board slide shitty on that kink rail, or gap this thing to this weird fucking like shitty thing. You can just not have, you have to work. It's a work. It's a work. You're paid for it. If you're working, and if you're not working and you're paid for it, someone down the line is wanted to work for it and do the real thing, and he's going to do it. He's going to take your place. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, 100%. That's the cycle of professional, I hate the word too, but like sports or anything, you know, eventually there's the 14-year-old kids that are watching the 25-year-old kids that are like, I'm getting almost as good. Every once in a while you watch like a new edit and there's like a 15, 16-year-old kid and they're doing tricks that 3, 4, 5 years ago you're like, well, that would be insane if that was an edit, and their whole edit is insane stuff, and it's like kids are just getting better and better and better. But the thing is, they need to stick around. Like, you guys stuck around. You guys kept paying your dues year after year after year. Instead of filming Bandwagon and then bitching and complaining that you didn't get big paychecks the year after, you guys all put your dues in for another 10 years longer and all saw the reward of hard work. Even like people just outside your group, like Anto and stuff like that, all drew so much inspiration. I would say all Canadians drew so much inspiration from your crew, being like, this is how much work you have to put in. If you want to be the best and you want to get paid, you got to pay your dues. And you didn't give up easily, you know what I mean? Which there's so many people who put like a video part out, put another one out, then they complain that they were the best, never got paid, and then they just quit. But it's like, if they would have kept going for another year or two, they probably would have got what was coming inevitably for their skills.
Yeah. And that's, you know, fuck.
But you see some young kids that have like the talent and stuff like that, and then they quit, and you're just like, and you could see that they're like, I look at them and go like, you're way better than me, and like, you're what I would want to be. And when they quit so easily, it's like, I'm like, no wonder I made it. Like, I just never quit. Like, I've been wanting to be, and I've lived in Whistler, and I've tried to make this my life since I was 17. And it's just like, persistence gets you fucking where you want to go.
Oh, you went through shit.
Yeah, just fucking, it's some shit that I don't know a lot of people want to go through. It's like the peaks and valleys of pro snowboarding is fucking wild.
You know, the key to it is like, I feel like maybe, like you said, they want to get paid. It's the key to it is like, you don't want to get paid. You're really fucking happy when it happens, but you don't want to get paid. I moved to Whistler to snowboard, not to get paid. Like, and then when I got paid, I was like, I kept doing it, and I kept doing it with my friends. I was like, fuck, I'm fucking snowboarding with my friends, and I was paid. And you know what I mean? Like, we did Bandwagon, I was not paid. Before Bandwagon, we did Sugar Shack, I was not paid. I had like free stuff, and I was like, fuck yeah. And in my head, I thought about it, but it was not, it was never like a goal. I was watching movie, and I was like, those guys are professional snowboarders. It was never a goal. And even in my fucking, like 20 years career, my goal was never to get paid. It was to snowboard. And I was paid to snowboard. But I went everywhere. I went to Japan. I went to everywhere. And my goal was not to get paid. It was to film a video part. and I was paid for that. If my goal was to get paid, I would have quit. It was not that good of a pay. You know what I mean? I would have went to work.
Yeah, that's the thing right there. There's so many people that are looking for the paycheck, but like for me personally, I've lived in Whistler for such a long time, and I've been dropped, I've been re-signed, but the whole time I've been like, I'm gonna live here regardless, and I'm gonna be snowboarding regardless. And like the year I got cut with DC, and then I went out and just filmed with Brockle for fun that year, was the best year, well, one of my best video parts ever. And it was like I got hooked up after that shit, which is wild because it's like I didn't want it anymore. I wasn't even trying to be a pro snowboarder. I was just doing what I would do regardless of the outcome. I was just doing it simply because I wanted to film a video part that someone like yourself, that someone like Ben, that someone like LeWiff would be like, I liked your switch lip slide to switch. It's weird how much effort I've put into snowboarding to have somebody like you or like Kuzik or, you know, in the backcountry like Mikey or something like that or Solers be like, yo, I liked your front seven. Like to me, that's the ultimate compliment is when you look up to somebody and then that person you look up to likes a trick that you think that they would like. You're just like, what? You liked my trick? Like, and you said it? That's the reason why I'm not really one of those people who sits on the sidelines when I see somebody that I really like look up to. I'm like super down to be like, yo, like if I had never met you before, I'd be like, yo, and I saw you at a bar in Quebec, I'd be like, yo, LNP, I loved your career, dude. You're the sickest boarder. Like, thanks. And whether or not you want to take that, however you want to take it, is fine. But I think it's so nice when somebody goes out of their way to say, like, I like the work that you've put in to your craft. Because it's like, that's what you're doing it for. You're doing it for people. You're doing it for more than just yourself, you know. You're doing it for yourself, but you're also doing it for peers that you look up to. Because what's better than, like, someone like LeWiff being like, yo, LNP, sick video part. Jed says, like, dude, your 5.0 was so sick. Chris Grenier texts you and goes, like, yo, that shit was fire. You know what I mean? And whoever else in your life, Etienne Gilbert hits you up and goes, your part was wild, dude. Keep it up. Reminds me of the old days. You're like, it just makes you feel so accomplished.
Yeah, but then, you know, what you're doing right now also is sick as fuck. You know? Like, I think you're bring like my voice right now, I could have been home and then just talking English to myself while watering the plant in front of the house. You sent me a text and you were like, let's do this, let's, you know, like you opened the door and then you talked to Mare France, and I thought it was sick as fuck too, because she saw some shit, man. She was like by herself, she was like and she's a strong lady, and I think that's sick. And then everything else you did, you just like, man, like you could have skipped me, but you bring, like, you know, man, it's big for me. It warms my heart that you wanted to have me on your show and have me talk about stuff, because I've thought about it, you know, like I quit, like I decided to quit. It misses me. A lot of people are like, hey, you snowboarding still? With the family, it's hard to get back to snowboard. I've snowboarded every year, once a year. I go with everyone, all the dudes, and it's like the best day of my life. We go to Stoneham, I go with everyone, and we shred, and we just go downhill fast on planks. We strap on our planks and we go down. I go down with fucking LeWiff, Pidge, Frank, all snowboard stars. Alex, Quentin, Ben. We go down. We just snowboard. And we did I think we did this year. I think we did. or we did it one year. It was raining. We did it, and it was like the smile on my face. I couldn't fucking hold the smile on my face. I had snowboard for so many. I was like, Jesus. You know what I thought? I was like, before I see everyone, I should get like a test run. And then someone was like, "Hey, look on!" I was like, "Fuck, I didn't have a test run going." And I was still cool, man. I did a 540 of a bump, and I was like, my back's gonna hurt tomorrow. And the back didn't hurt the next morning. I was all right.
What a special thing that is, you know what I mean?
Tell myself that it was a job, it was hard. There's a moment when I was like, fuck this, I don't want to go there. And they were like, we got to go there in 5 days, and we got to film a part. And it was stressed me out, and my girlfriend was pregnant, and my life was going to another direction. As much as I want to see those, not dark days, but more negative. The negative days. The rest is fucking amazing. I traveled the world. I met you. I met Kuzik. I met a bunch of people. I went to Japan. I went to fucking Kazakhstan. I went everywhere. And I still, to this day, sit down when everyone's sleeping. I go on YouTube and I watch old videos myself, which is it's a cocky thing, but it just reminds me everything that I've done. And it's just, I want to tell kids, cherish those fucking years, because when I was young, I was like, this is cool. And now these are past me, and I can watch them. I can watch myself. I can watch myself as a tiny little human doing snowboarding on a TV, and it freaks me out, but it makes me so happy because it reminds me everything. I can see, like, dude, all the movies, man. I can pull out like the Deja Vu DVD and watch all my friends snowboard. That now I have kids that some of them still snowboard, some of them don't snowboard. So just cherish this. If you can't snowboard, snowboard. If you can snowboard and travel, snowboard and travel. But cherish every little single day.
I couldn't agree more, especially with these times that we're going through right now. And, you know, you're not sitting there thinking about those difficult times where you just want to go fly home to your wife or your girlfriend, or like, you know, those injuries, or like the fact that you tapped on a nose press and stuff like that. Like, all you do is reflect on how fun and how incredible this gift of snowboarding, and how lucky that we were born in a time and in an era that even has this thing, that it's even invented. I don't know in human history what's going to happen in 10, 20, 100, 200 years from now, but I think that someone who's strapped into a snowboard in the last 20 years, that might be one of the funnest things that's ever been invented in human history. I can't even describe how much joy that thing has brought me. And I don't know that before snowboarding and skateboarding and surfing were invented, if there were things on earth that existed that brought people that much joy.
And I thought, like, I've heard it so many times, like, oh my God, snowboarding makes me so joyful, and skateboarding makes me so joyful. And I thought about it, I was like, what the fuck? But it is real. It's a real thing. When I strapped in with all my buddies in Stoneham, and it was raining, and I wasn't I hadn't snowboarded in 4 years, I was joyful. I was laughing. I was screaming. I took my skateboard. I wasn't skateboarding for like a few years. I took my cruiser last day. I went to the grocery store with my skateboard, my cruiser, and the entire time I was pushing, I was laughing. There's something chemical. There's a chemical in the body whenever you like push on the skateboard or go down on the snowboard. You know, go down a snowboard and go fast as fuck, as fast as you can. And then it's also like, it's not like it's unifying. It's gonna be your bros. You're gonna see your bros at the skate park. You're gonna see your bros at the snow park. My entire career was based on the fact that I was with my friends. I was with my friends in Stoneham. We filmed something. We filmed a part, and then we decided to film a movie. It's with my friends. If I would be by myself, I would never been a pro snowboarder. My friend got me into snowboarding. My dad brought me a snowboard. My family got me into snowboarding. But my friend got me into snowboarding. My friend build myself into my, like I would have been nobody without Louis, Frank, Will, Alex, like the Deja Vu crew is who brought me into snowboarding.
And that's such a big part. That's not even a big part. It's like, it is who you are as a person. Like LNP is a household name in snowboarding. And that's something in itself to be like, like you said, you're watching those old videos of yourself on YouTube and now you're in a different time of your life. It's like reflecting on those videos, like, yeah, reflecting on those days must be something so special for you because I'm still in it. So hearing your voice and like hearing how genuine and how much joy that snowboarding actually brought to you, it makes me feel like I'm kind of in this weird phase right now. Like, do I get re-signed next year? Do I get let go in a few years? Who knows where I'm going to be, you know what I mean? And you put such an emphasis there on like enjoy it while you have it because one day it's you blink and then you're a different person because that's life. Snowboarding can't last forever for everybody and it fizzles out at a different time for everybody.
It can. You can, like I feel bad for not doing it and it might be me. I should push harder and my little girl has like a little snowboard, but then like to go there and try and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's me, but I said, like I boarded with all the dudes and that's what triggers me. Like to this day, I don't want to go snowboard by myself. Not that I don't like snowboarding or whatever. Like I love snowboarding, but I love snowboarding with my friends. And I don't see my friends often. But if every year we go there and we snowboard, I'll snowboard for sure. You know what I mean?
It's tough to get, once you pass 25 years old or whatever, 25, 26, 20, you get a little bit older basically. It's like getting the band back together is so difficult, especially with like your friend group who, a lot of you guys have kids now and stuff like that. And getting the crew together is like, damn near impossible. So when it does, and you guys have something beyond special. Like you guys, the feeling you guys must get is something that I don't think there's a lot of people in the world will get. Like your friendship runs so deep because you guys were not only childhood friends, you guys were teenage friends, you guys did your snowboard careers together, and now you're still friends, and you guys, it's just like your whole life has been around that crew. Where for me, it's been like my Winnipeg people, then I moved out to Whistler, and then all the people I grew up in Whistler with all left, and now I have a new group of friends in the last 5 years that I've been really hanging out with. But like you, the Deja Vu crew, it's like, that's your day one boys. And you did your whole life with them.
Yeah.
You know those guys better than anybody. like, and it's wild, you know what I mean? Once you get older, you can't just, it's tough to make time for everybody. I feel bad right now. Even every once in a while, I get a text to do this and do that, and it's so hard.
Yeah, but like you said, like with the kids and everything, it's like hard to see each other, I think. And nowadays, to bigger extent, it's like with the COVID and whatever, it's like even harder. It loosened up these days, but like I said, like if once a year I can have this ride day with my bros, I'll be happy. I think I should, and it'd be good for me to maybe start riding again, but I still have this. It's a thing that it was like a job, and it was stressful, and it was always like, let's go there and let's film this and let's, like, I feel like I kind of lost the essence of it which sounds kind of crazy, but it goes away. It's been a year now. It's been a few years now that I've been thinking about maybe going back on the board for fun, like just go snowboard. And when it stopped, when I wanted to, like, I'm not even sure if I quit. I felt like snowboarding just let me go. They just opened the door and I just went out. It was kind of time because the pay was getting low, so the job was not a job anymore. And then whenever I was sponsored by the end, I wasn't really snowboarding for fun anymore. I was just, I'd film a part, so I would go down a few rails and then I'd come home and I'd just hang out with my girlfriend and have like a real life, and I wouldn't snowboard, I wouldn't go to the resort and I wouldn't go snowboarding or whatever. I had something else. And that something else felt greater and greater when the contract went lower and lower, and it kind of mind fucked me in my love of snowboarding. It bummed me out.
It's a weird thing when you get paid for a long time and then it slowly starts to fizzle out, and then you have this other thing that instead of it fizzling out, you have this relationship that's kind of like the opposite. It's just growing even better and better. So it's almost like that buzz that you got early on from snowboarding and that fulfillment you got from snowboarding and getting new sponsors and getting ender video parts and covers and stuff, that starts to feel like that you're getting that feeling from the relationship, and snowboarding begins to be this not super fulfilling thing when everything's kind of going south. At least that's what it sounds like. I'm putting words in your mouth, but I'm imagining.
Yeah.
But, would you really change anything, I bet you if you get up in the morning tomorrow and look at your wife and your kid, you're like, this is fucking right where I'm supposed to be.
No, I wouldn't change anything. But I would say that any kid that are snowboarding right now and wanting to be pro or whatever is just like the key to it, and it sounds fucking so cheesy. That's what it is. Just snowboard. Don't make being sponsored poison your snowboarding. Like if you're not meant to be sponsored, just snowboard. Just snowboard for fun. Because being sponsored comes with a bag of, it's a heavy bag. And you know that, Jody. It's jumping from a sponsor for being paid and not paid, and your check is not coming and whatever, blah, blah. And it's just fucking, it's a goddamn nightmare, man.
I thought it was really, really powerful what you said when you said the door just seemed like it was open for you to leave. And no one was holding it. No one was telling you to go through it. No one was telling you not to go through it. But once you get like a little older and you film some video parts, I just feel like a lot of times you don't know if the door is always open. So you're just kind of looking like, do I just leave? Does this brand even want me? They're adding all these new kids. I don't really seem to be getting the spotlight. Nor do I have the energy that these 20-year-olds have. And I can't stay fully dedicated to snowboarding as much as them, because your mind, as you get older, just develops, you know what I mean? And you're thinking more and more about what else is there in life and what else is going on. I mean, like, bills aren't a thing when you're 20. You don't care. You can live on a floor and drink beer and eat pizza all day. Then you have a girlfriend, like for me, I have a younger girlfriend, but she's looking to have some sort of structured relationship. She wants kids in the future and stuff like that. And like, I don't have my shit together, you know what I mean? I've been a snowboarder my whole life. I got stoned and played Grand Theft Auto and went to Super Park one time a year and thought I was the most successful snowboarder ever because I was getting $400 a month from electric, and I thought I was rich. And now I'm like, I just took my truck in, like we were just talking at the beginning of this, and my truck's $5,000. I don't have a vehicle right now, and I'm like, where does a $5,000 bill just fall from? And it's just like every bill is $1,000 bill once you go over 25. It's just, there's no $100 bills. Now everything's $1,000. New fridge, new this, $1,000 bills are just going out like a printer. And eventually you're like, you want to keep, like, I want to keep my girlfriend happy. I want to have a family. I want to own a house one day. And it's like, oh, it's so tough. Because, I mean, they're kind of looking for the kid that's just obsessed with snowboarding, who's willing to live on the floor and snowboard. I try to be that guy as much as I can, but I also have to be like, I have nephews and shit, you know?
Let's see. Remember all those GP Walker and Jeremy Jones and all those dudes, like all the Burden dudes, and have you heard about like a legend these days? Like from the bandwagon days, have you heard of a Jeremy Jones or a GP Walker? Do you know what I mean? Like those guys, they fell into the lottery, the snowboard lottery. They were fucking like making millions of dollars. Bjorn Linus, the Forum dudes, Peter Line, all that fucking crap. And did we do it? We did bandwagon. Are we rich? We're not. There's no more legend. There's no more big legend in snowboarding. Can you tell me a legend right now? From like 2000. Can you tell me whoever's a legend right now is making a ton of money?
Anybody that's like under 25 is making nothing. Everyone I know is painting. They're painting so they can still snowboard in the winters and stuff like that. Or life has hit them, so they have kids and they have responsibilities and they've moved back home because they have to take care of their parents or etc. And it's just like, or you're a really young kid and you're getting $2,000 a year or less. Like a lot of the AM kids I know who are filming full on video parts that would make people like you proud get 2 free boards a year.
And a lot of brands are just going downhill. It's going to wash it. It's going to be terrible. When I was young and I watched like Simple Pleasure and it was the Form year and all that. I feel like those guys, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe those guys could clarify that, but I feel like those guys were making a living. To say that people are making a living, I mean, remember how, I don't know, or maybe I'm like too old for this, and maybe kids are now watching like Louis being like, but I feel like the Jeremy Jones years...
Dude, well, yeah, they're still, those names are still household names, and they will be forever, and they're still getting paid by a lot of their sponsors. I mean, I hopefully too, because it's like names like that are around for life.
They're still here to this days. And nowadays, there's so many people going up and down and...
Big time.
Not that I claim myself to be a legend, but I've been in and out, and there's no glory into that. Like, Alex Quentin is one of the dude that's done amazing parts. And he went in and out. And do anyone remember him? You know what I mean? Like,
snowboarding's a tough one because snowboarding, I feel like... I heard this on the Bunt or the 9 Club or whatever like that. Somebody was saying, I forget who. Kids now are more wrapped up in being the hero themselves than when we were young. We looked up, we had idols, you know, we looked up to people, we had like heroes and stuff like that, and we had their pictures on their wall and we were just obsessed with them. Now kids want to be the hero. They have their own Instagrams, they make their own videos, and they immediately put themselves in the limelight, and they don't even really, like, they look up to some people, but it's not like we did, you know what I mean? So I think the people who grew up in our era, there are people who looked up to Alex, like, you know what I mean? And will remember your names forever. It's a lot of people, actually, way more than you guys think. But going forward, I think, you know, the kids that are blowing up now that are like under 25, I feel like it's going to be a real struggle for them to be a household name or be remembered for longevity because every young kid thinks of themselves as like the little superstar.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if that makes sense or if I really nailed that there, but
I think it makes sense.
because and there's also a lot less pros back in the day, you know what I mean? There was like 5 major videos, you know, Mac Dog and Standard and Absinthe and then, you know, Kingpin, etc. But every single person that was in those videos was making good money.
And there was no Instagram. So, you know, like, and there's probably, back in that day, if you go back and you could fucking interview anyone in there, there's probably like 3 or 4 dudes that are way better than JP and fucking Jeremy that never got recognized.
But they also stayed the course and just throughout thick and thin, JP and Jeremy just snowboarded their whole life and they reaped the benefits of it. I mean, yes, it's slowed down now, but they had peaks and valleys throughout their whole careers, but they just kept filming video parts.
And back in the days, like, you'd had to have, like, a lot of movie. You had to, like, film it and get it developed and everything. You know what I mean?
That was a nightmare.
Fuck.
But now it's like, think about if Bandwagon 2020 came out. So a bunch of kids from Quebec who are better than LeWiff, they're better than Jed, they're better than Jake, they're better than everybody, they're better than Tommy Gesme. They're all on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Instagram has kind of ruined the platform for, like, legit videos. I mean, it's kind of a give and take because they can also promote them, but it also takes away from the fact that anyone's going to wait till a video to come out.
Some kid should try it. I think I dare one kid to go on a winter mission with an iPhone and film every ender in Bandwagon on his iPhone, put it on his Instagram, tag me.
There you go. And what you should give him a signed Rome board.
No, I'm not going to give him anything.
That'd be sick though. So let's end this with some insight. Do you have any advice for anybody listening to this general life advice for somebody?
I want to tell you something that I've been working on hard, and it's really hard, but it's the way to go. And it's really hard, but you have to be positive. Be positive every day. Wake up positive. It sounds super lame and shitty, but I can't do it. I get bummed. I get mad. I have problem like everyone else. But if I could, one day, from the time that I wake up to the time that I go to bed, be positive the entire time, I'll achieve something. And if you can and you do it, this is sick for you. But I think that's the key to anything, because I have kids, and kids are rowdy, and kids are screaming, and kids are amazing, and I am actually lucky to have these kids healthy, and I should be more positive about it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I definitely believe that if you manifest a positive life and you actually, even if you're in a bad mood, you tell yourself you're positive. I was listening to I listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts or whatever, but if you just tell yourself that you're happy or that you're positive and you say it out loud or even you think it, there's a chemical reaction that happens in your brain because your words are associated with something in your brain. So if you say, I'm happy, it triggers something back there to open the folder in your brain of happiness, and you're way more likely to start rolling into that direction than if you stay like in a state of anger and say, I'm angry, I'm pissed off. You will just snowball into that state. It's like, you just lie to yourself if you're in a horrible mood and say, like, I love myself, I'm in a good mood, life's good, and you'll reap the benefits from it. Sounds stupid, but I mean, I've been trying it, and every once in a while, it's been working.
You gotta focus on what you have in a positive mind, because sometimes I have kids screaming and crying, breaking shit and whatever, and I'm like, and then if I go back and think about it, I have 3 kids completely healthy. They're not in the hospital. We're not sitting in beds around them in hospitals. You know what I mean? They're not sick. They're not dying. They're breaking shit and they're just destroying the house. But that's what kids do.
That is what they do.
That's what I have to like. And that's my girlfriend taught me that. She's like, take a step back. Tell yourself that your kids are healthy. They're here. They're living with us.
It sounds like you got a keeper.
They're not in the hospital. They're not dying. They're not like sick. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're breaking shit, but shit's always broken. Like, that's what I was doing when I was a kid. Just breaking shit.
That's what every kid does.
Yeah.
And one day you will look back just like you did on your snowboard career and you will not think of the negatives of the kids breaking the dishes and stuff like that. You will only think of the positives. Because when you are in the moment, it's so easy to get wrapped up in the negatives. But 10 years from now, you always reflect on life in the positive.
They're going to have kids. I'm going to sit back with a beer, watch their kids break stuff, and them freaking out. I'll be like, hey, they're healthy. They're doing what they're doing. Let them break shit. Leave them alone.
I love it, dude. That was some wisdom right there. Good sharing. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for inspiring so many kids at such a young age to... Dude, such an incredible snowboarder, but also you did everything the way you wanted to do it. You dressed the way you wanted. You did whatever you did, and I think that you inspired way more people than you know to just be individuals, and that in itself is that's an incredible thing. You didn't inspire just on your snowboard, but you're truly somebody who was just like, this is what the fuck I'm wearing, and fuck it. And there's so many kids, I bet you, that were like, I like this fucking red jacket. I'm going to fucking wear this red jacket. And it's like, be yourself, just fucking own it. It's incredible. And if you could, I don't know, give us some tips on how you got so good at snowboarding so quickly, that'd be great. Because, I mean, there's a lot of people still doing crooked presses and front board pretzels and stuff. So maybe write a book. Surround yourself with people that think like you. Surround yourself with people that just want to do snowboarding and make snowboarding great. That's huge right there. We could end on that note. Is surround yourself with a good group of people and people that are inspiring. Because if you're surrounding yourself with a group of people that's not inspiring, you're never going to get inspired. Like, look at yourself. You surrounded yourself with such an amazing group of people that you guys all achieved your childhood dreams as a group. Yeah. And that didn't, like you said in the middle of the podcast there, it didn't happen just on yourself, like by yourself. It happened because of all your friends. And LeWiff wouldn't be where he is without you. Alex wouldn't be, and it's incredible. Will Demers wouldn't be filming for Brothers Factory if we weren't there. The brothers fucking, the Demers brothers wouldn't be filming if we weren't there. We weren't there if Will would have like grabbed his parents' camera and filmed us. And I wouldn't be there if LeWiff was there. I wouldn't be there for Ben. And because everyone had this way of thinking and shit. And this is a group thing. Surround yourself with your friend, man. And if your friends are not down to film, then just stick with your friends. And someone will see you in a resort or something. Like, they're always scouting and shit. Don't try to be sponsored. It's not gonna work. It was not my will to be a professional snowboarder, and I became one because I just did it for fun. I drank beer the entire time, and I was just laid back, and I didn't give a fuck. That's true, man. I've filmed some little things, and I tried some stuff, like, and I mean, it's a lie. I, like any kids, I wanted to be it, but it went pretty smooth, and I think if you just let it happen, it'll happen. If it doesn't happen, if it doesn't happen, don't quit. Don't be bummed. Most people don't become pros. Yeah, I think the one thing is over glorification of being pro. They think that being pro is like going to make them so happy. And it's like, once you become pro, it's just like having $100,000 in your bank account, and then you think that's going to make you happy, and then you get that, and then you think if you made $1 million, you'd be happy. It's like, okay, once I get free boards, I'll be happy. Once I, get video part of the year, once I become a super pro, it's like this never-ending cycle of trying to reach happiness. But like we were just talking about, you need to be happy in the moment, because all you're going to do is reflect on the good times anyway. So there's just a waste of your time to be negative in the present.
Kids should understand the fact that once you become pro, it's a job. A job is somewhere down the line who wants you to do something so he can give you money. If you're not doing what he wants, he's not going to give you the money. And this whole thing is you represent yourself. So if you want to have a shitty part, you'll have a shitty part, but you're not going to last long. People will be like, this part sucks. You are paid to entertain people. If you do not entertain the people, you're not going to get paid anymore, and they're going to flush you down the toilet. That's how it works. That's a big part of what I did. Is I was snowboarding. I was good at snowboarding, but I had to dress a certain ways to entertain the people. And some people are really fucking good on a snowboard and they don't need the dress, like Lewif.
You're undermining yourself. You're selling yourself too short. I would say when I used to watch old Lewif parts and your parts, they were the same to me. I never thought Lewif was better than you when he was filming. I mean, you might have because you were his friend growing up, but I mean, in my group of friends, there was a lot of people who liked your riding more than Lewif's, you know what I mean? So it's like...
I think he was more technical. He did like bigger tricks than I was doing.
Yeah, but like he also, when you started drinking beers more and stuff, he was probably trying a little harder. You were letting the good times roll, and he was focused.
I was drinking a few beers. I'm still doing it.
Lewif's incredible, dude, but if you would have kept going too, you could... Every person who was in that first movie that you grew up, you guys all could still be... I mean, look at Ben. Ben's been getting better every year. I like Ben snowboarding more than ever. He looks so good on a snowboard. He's like picked tricks that he really likes, and he's learnt them all so properly. Like the way he grabs his board, the way he carves. Like Ben's my favorite snowboarder out of the whole bandwagon crew now. Was he my favorite to begin with? No way. Because he was just like a little bit too black for me when I was a kid. I was into the, baggier stuff. So I liked like the Max B's and stuff like that and the Alex's. But then Ben does a tail grab on a quarter pipe. It's like incredible. Ben
eats it. Ben eats snowboarding. He needs it for a living. He needs snowboarding to live. I've seen picture of him like finding snow on top of the mountain with his fucking pickup truck. He just needs it. He just needs it, man. He fucking loves it to death. Even not sponsored, wouldn't give a fuck. He would still do it. That's what's really pure about Ben snowboarding. Is that he doesn't give a shit. Like Dinosaur will die. Give him boards. He's going to grab something and to fucking reuse it. And he's going to fucking go in on that same quarter pipe, do the same tail grab. He's going to wax it. It's going to be like a fucking 30-year-old board. He's going to fucking do the base back. He's going to wax it. He's going to strap some fucking bindings on it. He's going to do the same tail grab on that. And people will be like, oh my God, he's so good. He had the worst fucking... He had like a hard time, man. Like people would go in and out. They want Ben. They don't want Ben. Nitro was in and they were out. And then Rome was in. Rome was out. He had like I was him. Like I would have fucking quit and be like, fuck you guys. But he loves snowboarding. He loves snowboarding. That's what he wants to do. Snowboard. Like he doesn't give a shit. And then I feel like let's go back like 2 years, I guess. Like. Now, like, people are like, oh my God, Ben's sick, Ben is dad, Ben is this, like, Ben's been fucking struggling to be sponsored, and Ben's been that good for years, since bandwagon, Ben is that good, and now, today, people are like, oh my God, Ben is so good, like, fuck you, man. Fuck these companies that was like, oh, Ben's not good. Oh, Ben's not good. Ben, they would come in and then they would drop him out, and then this and this and this and this, and like it's like no one believed in Ben, and I was like, what the fuck, man? But I was not what the fuck, because I was doing my thing. I was somewhere else, and he was trying, and then at some point we're like, now they think he's good. Now they give him boards, and now they give him stuff. Like, what is this? He's been good since bandwagon. He's been doing these tag grabs since bandwagon. Everyone was what? Like, everyone was standing there with their eyes shut? What is this?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it just like it grew on me or whatever. I just think like I've always appreciated his skills, and I mean it's up to the brands when they're signing somebody to pick somebody, and it's not like Ben changed his snowboarding when Nitro signed him. I'm almost thinking there's people on the team that probably the team manager confided in and were like, "Are you down with Ben and stuff?" And they were probably like, "No, we don't like Ben," so they got him cut, which is bullshit. But to me, Ben and his baggier pants and stuff like that, I don't know, just the way he snowboards in looser fitting stuff just fucking shines on like a diamond to me, because it's like, yeah, he's one of my favorite snowboarders to watch right now.
He's always been shining.
He's been shining since day one for sure. I didn't mean that to sound like I wasn't like a big Ben fan. I'm a bigger Ben fan than I was.
Yeah, it's a diamond in the rough.
And he's fucking incredible. But
he's a dickhead.
Well, to you, it's great to me. Oh, yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you, man.
You're the best. Let's stay in contact, dude, and let's hope that you can get on the board a bit more, because, you know, everybody's dying to see just a 50-50.
Thank you, Jody, for inviting me on your show. I'm hyped. That makes me happy to just like talk. Been a long time since we talked about snowboarding.
It's been I haven't seen you for a long time, since we were stumbling around Creekside together years ago. And then you blink, and then what happens, right? You blink, and it's like you have a kid now, like 3 kids. Like, what happened?
Hey, man. I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you, G. Thanks for everything you do.
And it felt great. Thank you. Thank you for making me do this, and it was great talking to you, man. You know, the fucking Wayne Gretzky of snowboarding right here. You heard it on the podcast. The Michael Jordan, dude. No way.
Who cares, dude? You're the fucking man.
Thanks, my man.
All right, peace, homie. So Laurent and I actually recorded a little bit before we started the initial recording, and unfortunately he had his cell phone case on his phone, so the quality is a little bit low. I apologize for that, but this next 15 minutes or so is absolute fire. I had to keep it. Check it out.
At that time, that's how it was. If you watch like Simple Pleasure or whatever, it's like mostly backcountry, and they have like a couple of rails. And then it if you watch like, I don't know, like any other movies, like there's a rail and some backcountries. There's always like, even like the best rail rider will have like a 720 or something, you know, like, and
yeah, like Mikey LeBlanc would have like some of the most well-rounded video parts of like rail riding, half pipe, and jumps. I thought that shit was sick.
Yeah, and then you think, I mean, come on, like, you see what Mikey did in like Videograss. You can tell like he's not like a fan of like sliding like on rails. He wants to like jump off stuff. So he jumps off cliffs and he jumps off stairs, and that made complete sense. But like back in the days, it was like you got to need like a couple clips. They almost told us like, man, you got too many like rail clips. You need some backcountry clips, and then it pushed you to like the springtime where it's like, it's a disaster, man. If you ragdoll in like springtime snow, you'll fucking die. Like I broke a rib, man. If you watch any means, I think I have like a cab 270, which it's a real cab, like a fakey ollie off the jump, which is completely insane. And then I was trying to do a cab 5, and it turned out to be a cab 7. and then I land switch and I go down. If you see me, you see me like disappear. But that was like a valley and it had a bump and I ragdolled the shit out of it. And I was like super hyped of like landing this, but I cracked a rib. Like I couldn't wake up the next morning.
And the dudes were like, "That we're happy that you filmed 30 banger rail clips, but unfortunately with your separated rib cage, you're just not gonna have a full part this year." And you're like, "What?" But like, they're like, "Yeah, you got too many rail tricks, dog. You needed to fill it in with some backcountry."
It was like, so the any mean situation is like, I remember me and Greg drove from like Whistler to somewhere in like, oh man, we drove to like, I don't know what it's called. We didn't have tarps on our like snowmobile, so snowmobile was completely covered in like mud. And we got there, didn't use the snowmobile, or we did use the snowmobile, and then we were going trails with like there's mud, and then we were like trying to go up in the like alpines, getting the alpine, it's all baked. We try to like see for it was I hated it, man. I hated it. It was like the worst time.
And at that time, there wasn't a big understanding or not a lot of pressure involved from like the older dudes being like, it's important to have an understanding of backcountry knowledge and safety. It was just like, get out there and get a back seven.
It was terrifying, man. I had a what do you call it? The thing that beeps, like a you know what I mean? I don't even know the name of it.
Yeah.
I knew it beeped. Yeah, I had a beacon, and I think me and Ben did some tests like in the backyard, but like we hit it in the wood, and we were like, oh, it's there. And then, dude, we had probes and all that, but we didn't have anything. I remember like sweating heavily in my helmet, going up to this like ginormous hill, man. And I remember like, so I work at the garage with like a couple of dudes. They're pretty old, and they talk about snowmobile all the time. And they looked at me like, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, I own like a Yamaha like Mountain Max. I don't know. Like, and they're like, oh, that's cool. What'd you do with it? And I was like, well, I was in the Whistler and I was going up the hill. And they were like, what? How? And I was like, I don't know. I had like the shittiest snowmobile. Like, I remember, like, it was the scariest moment. Like, everyone's screaming in their helmet, like, you gotta go fast, man. Just spin it. Go up this thing. You know, it's like in war. It's like you're war, man. You're like, okay, I'll do it. It's like fear in my heart, and I was like, yeah. It's terrifying, man. And to go where? To go see some spot, and they're like, oh, it's too cloudy. Let's come back tomorrow. And I was like, fuck you guys, man. I can go anywhere in the city and be like, if it's cloudy, I'll do a trick, and then I'll leave. Like, no one comes back, other if they get kicked out, you know? Oh, it's too cloudy, no sun. Let's come back tomorrow. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. Like, I like riding powder, man.
How many years of sledding did you have before you were like...
Oh, none. Absolutely none. They dropped me
What about the fakey Cab 7? What about the full Steve Calabera?
I had like 1 year, I think.
Were you like separated fucking rib cage and you're out?
Oh. I have a pretty insane story where Bjorn was there, and Bjorn, and who else was there?
Somebody from Rome? Question mark?
Yeah. No, I'm real bad with name, and he's a Canadian. He rode for Rome. And he was really good at backcountry. No, and he's an older dude.
Older dude on Rome, Canadian.
He's gonna be bummed.
Oh, Jesse Fox?
Jesse Fox. I'm so sorry, Jesse. Really sorry about that. I forgot.
Yes, we got him.
Yeah, so Jesse was there for sure. I think Bjorn was there, but I'm not absolutely sure. And Trent Ludwig was there.
Oh, sick.
So,
good crew.
Yeah. And I think Will Levine? Yeah, it was me and Will. I think Greg might have been there, but I'm not quite sure. like I said,
And was
I'm
this
not-
winter, like actual?
No, that was
like...
complete spring, baked as snow.
Wow.
Yeah. So we went on a mission, and then it's like, so you got Jesse Fox and Bjorn with you, looking for jumps. That's just like it's pretty good pressure, right?
And you're in full war mode in your fucking helmet, just powering up hills, just fuck.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, "Oh, there's a cloud over there," and you'd be like, "Fuck, I guess we'll keep going."
Yeah. Well, the fire mode was like more in the winter. At that time, that story with Jesse Fox is more like a springtime where you just ride into dirt until you get some snow, and then you go to the Alpine, and it's super easy to get there because everything's baked. But the thing I didn't know about snowmobile is like under the skis, there's a metal rod you're supposed to change, and mine weren't. They were like completely worn out, and I didn't know that
sideways.
So they went.
Yeah, your carbide skags.
Oh,
Important.
there's no carbide. There's nothing. There's just like plastic skis, and
Oh,
so
no.
there's three things happen. My sled fell down a hole because I tried to turn and it didn't turn, and it fell off the cliff, and like the plastic exploded, and then I went to a tree hole. But the best is they went up this hill, and this hill went, it was like this first hill, and it'd go really high up to like the top of the mountain. But I didn't see like they went up. Like they went up and they went to the first stage. I thought they went all the way up. So I was like, all right, let's go. Wartime. So I pinned it. I went up the first hill and I saw them and I was like, oh shit. So I turned. But when I turned, I kind of like fucked up and I fell off. And then it went down by itself.
Oh no.
All the way down. And it looked at me and he looked at my sled. And my sled went just off the little lip. And there was like a jump also there. It was so weird. It went up the lip and went full like, not right. How do you call it? Like when it goes like.
Tomahawk?
Yeah, it went tomahawk like a few times. I remember like going, like I was running down the hill. It was completely like, I was trying to catch my sled. I was running down the hill. And it went down tomahawk. And I remember like just sitting on my sled completely distracted. And Jesse Fox was like blowing like a beach ball. And he was like, hey man, you want to play beach ball? And I was like, no man, I just want to go home.
No, dude. I want to sell this snowmobile for the amount I paid for it and call it a day. I'm out.
Never come back here again.
I'm going back to Quebec. I'm filming my part for the Rome movie, and I'm never coming back to Whistler to ride backcountry ever again.
And I think that was my last time. I think I was
Dude, it's wild though. For people who've never done it,
terrifying.
I was like pretty good at rails, like okay, but I was never like that good. And I always liked jumping, maybe a bit more or whatever. But I was never that good at jumping either. So I was like, shit, I really got to be a ratio dude. Like, I got to do both.
A little bit of both.
And so I knew I had to go fucking jumping out into the backcountry. And I literally didn't enjoy it for the first year to two because I was so terrified. And of course, when I'd get up there and start actually snowboarding, I'd be like, wow, this is something I want to do because I want to look like Devin and Mark Frank. But I remember screaming so many fucking days in my helmet, just like out of straight fear, out of frustration. Like I can't explain how frustrating learning on those old sleds to like get up there.
Oh yeah, those sleds they were not made for this. Like I bought this sled from a guy that's probably doing just trail around Whistler, and he was going to the Alpine with like 5 feet of snow and had a small track. Like, how many times my sled just went wham and got like 3 feet in the wind, and then you're like pulling and like you get fucking like you can't see
Your
anything.
goggles
you're
are
like
so
sweating.
fogged.
You're like everyone's leaving. Fuck. And then you're like you got nothing, or you got like a shitty radio. Like guys, wait for me. And it's just like terrible, man.
And you're
not even getting to the jump to like drop in onto like a sketchy ass like runway where you like scraped it and you built a jump. And then I remember like my first time I was like, I'm going off this thing. I feel like I'm going like all the way to the flat bottom to the valley. Like I'm going like full speed onto this, and then I'm like chucking whatever, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do a 540. Yeah, right, man. You're just gonna chuck whatever you got, and it's gonna be like a 360, and you're like, okay, guess I'm doing a 7. And then you land, and then you don't land, and everyone's like, oh man, you kind of fucked up the landing. You're like, well, man, like I can go I can go to the street and try a trick like 50,000 times, and here I can only do it 3 times. It's done. Oh, it's cloudy. Let's leave.
Oh yeah, and you only have like coming from Quebec, you can hit like a down rail like 50 times.
Ugh.
Rain, shine, clouds. There you have like 4 goes until there's giant bomb holes everywhere. You knee yourself in the face, and everyone asks you, why didn't you get a clip today? And then on the way out, you get stuck 1,000 times. Your goggles are completely fogged. Clouds roll in. You can't see anything.
You sled broke, and then your sled broke. And then you learn about mechanic. Sometimes mechanical parts in like a sled can break, and you're like, what? And it costs like $150, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
And at that point, literally $150 is like your month's supply of food.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Dude, man, yeah. It's like, we're not going to the marketplace today.
Oh man, it's so funny because I was there and I feel exactly the same way. But then one year, I don't even know why I persevered for so long, because I wasn't having fun. I was crying in my helmet. And then one year it all clicked and I just loved it more than anything. And I was like, and now that I am really good at sledding and the new sleds allow you to go anywhere, I'm like going out there with like 4 of your friends to just, even if it clouds in, just to eat lunch up there is so much fun.
And just rip. If I had like a good sled and then just rip, and if I knew like how to repair a snowmobile, which I can probably do now because I've learned some stuff about
Well, the
mechanic,
reason why you learned how to be a good mechanic is by force. When you're out in the backcountry and you're going to die unless you get your sled started, you figure out how to do it.
And then you're like, oh, I should probably bring like a strap in my backpack because it's really small, and if my strap just completely destroy and my snowmobile doesn't work anymore, I won't have to get it Ellie out. I can change the strap.
And there's no like first aid kit that you're bringing out back then and stuff. And now we're all like dialed with sap phones, first aid kit,
crazy,
pro
man.
beacon shovels that actually all
Our
work
phone
and that
wouldn't
we know
work.
how to use.
Our phone wouldn't work. We had like Razor flip phones, and it would, hey, my phone's not working. So if we die, we die.
Oh, this is.
But then,
best.
like, if I like buy, I fully respect everyone who did backcountry, because for me it was a terrifying experience. But then I can see someone being hyped on it, because I've done some terrifying thing in the street and I was really hyped doing it. But like, whatever you go up, you're like, why am I doing it here? Like, why am I not working in like grocery store and doing something? I'm gonna die. And then you land it and I'm like, I am invincible. I did not die. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So,
dude, James Bond GoldenEye.
yeah, and then I stand.
Boris.
I stood in front of like some jumps where I now see people do backcountry stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is insane. Like, so I have a full respect for it. For me personally, like me myself, like I can't. I'm not made for this. Like, I can't do it. I can't fake you 7 every jump in Whistler. Like, it'd be dangerous. I'll die somewhere.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966. 66!
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?